Testing, testing. Ah, yes, the mixer does need to be on. Very, very good. Okay, a lot to discuss. Glad that you are with me today. Not even sure where to start, honestly. We have incredible video of William Barr completely. You know how sometimes you hear about explosive testimony? This was implosive testimony. William Barr just completely breaking down and actually causing numerous new problems that now the Trump administration is going to have to contend with. I'm going to show you momentarily some important moments from the testimony. It's stunning. We also now have the full text of the letter written by Robert Mueller to William Barr, Donald Trump's propaganda attorney general. It doesn't. It's like not even the right way to modify. A person can't be a propaganda attorney general, but that's what William Barr is, and that's what I'm calling him. We have the full text of this letter that I spoke about on the program earlier today, where Robert Mueller wrote to Barr and said, you know, what you're saying is causing a problem. And for someone as measured and controlled as Robert Mueller, this is what you would call a scathing letter, right? This is like for someone who doesn't emote in any way, smirking is the equivalent of uncontrolled laughter. For Robert Mueller, who is controlled, quiet, barely said anything, even through spokespeople throughout this investigative process, it is the equivalent of a scathing letter by Robert Mueller. And before I get to the video of Kamala Harris, taking apart William Barr and getting him to expose horrible, horrible things. Part of what is, I think, enjoyable about the video that I'm about to play for you is that William Barr embodies the smugness that we have come to know and be disgusted by of Donald Trump and everybody around him. And he starts to look visibly perplexed and confused, and maybe even realizing that he's going in a direction that is extraordinarily damaging. And you'll see why when I get to this video. And then let me ask this for people that are in the chat, and I know people are just coming in. Do you want me to look at the testimony video first, or do you want me to look at the Barr letter, the Mueller letter to Barr first? I'm willing to start with either, depending on what people want. So I'll take a look at what's in the chat in terms of what people want, and I'll go. So testimony. What else are people saying? Video, testimony, letter, testimony, video, letter, testimony, letter, testimony, letter, testimony. It seems pretty 50-50. So what I'll do is I'll just like toss this pen, and if it points more towards me, I'll do testimony first. Otherwise, I'll do the Barr letter. And it is pointing to me. So we will start with the testimony. Okay. So before I get into the video, welcome to the live stream. If this is your first, this is different than the clips we upload because it's live, unless you're watching a replay, which means you can participate. The best way to participate is using the super chat function. Yesterday during my live stream with Stephen Destiny Bunnell II, we took a few super chats, but I will get to all super chats today. And I see that a couple have already started to come in. That's the $ at the bottom of the chat window. If you want to call in, and I see people already saying they want to call in at 617-830-4750, sign up for a membership, okay? This program is mostly funded by memberships at davidpakman.com/membership. If we get 10 of them, I will open up the phone lines when we're done looking at the video and the Barr letter. And it'll be a great time. I actually see there's a super chat here from Joseph Dinsies, who's already saying, open up the phones. Mark wants to prove you wrong. I don't know who Mark is, but I will gladly open the phone lines during the live stream if and when we get 10 new members at davidpakman.com/membership. You can save off of the normal prices with the coupon code This Is 2020. The normal prices are pretty damn reasonable. I'm not going to lie, but you can take the discount or not. And if we get 10 new members, we will open up the phone lines. Don't troll the live chat. There are a number of moderators. They have been deputized to mute people as necessary and also to ban or block people as necessary. Don't troll the live chat. You can also hit the join button down below, and that will make you a YouTube channel member, which is a whole other way to support the show. So let's get into this. I could have picked a whole bunch of different parts of this testimony to sort of show you the extent to which William Barr is not a law enforcement official in anything other than name, other than title, I guess I would say. He's a propagandist, partisan actor meant to get Donald Trump out of trouble. He's an expert in covering up presidential wrongdoing. And the most glaring expose of that, where his smugness actually was interrupted by visible concern and having to ask people behind him and look around and ask for questions to be repeated, was when Kamala Harris interrogated him, quite frankly, cross-examined him. I'm not saying I support Kamala Harris for president. This is not a prop up Kamala thing. So please, if you're going to start posting that stuff, that's not what this is. She destroyed William Barr. Let's start getting into it. And from the very first question, it already was very bad for William Barr. Take a look.
Barr, has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone?
I wouldn't.
Yes or no?
Could you repeat that?
Could you repeat?
I will repeat it.
That question.
Has
It was too. You did anyone ask me to open an investigation? What was that question again? And it goes downhill.
President or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open?
By the way, this look on Cory Booker's face, he, in the first 22 seconds of this exchange, realizes he has a front row seat to something that's going to get pretty good.
An investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir?
The president or anybody else?
Seems you would remember something like that and be able to tell us.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grapple with the word suggest. I mean,
Grapple, please.
There have been discussions of matters out there that they have not asked me to open an investigation, but
Perhaps they've suggested,
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
hinted,
I don't know.
inferred.
So this is everything but a no so far. The question is, has Donald Trump or someone in his administration encouraged, suggested, invited, said that they want an investigation into particular individuals? And anything short of no is a real problem.
You don't know. Okay.
Now, there are questions as to why Kamala Harris moves on here, and I get why. You'll see why in a second. But this is a very disturbing answer from William Barr, because, as you know, there is a movement now now that Trump has been cleared of everything, which of course is bullshit. Investigate Hillary, investigate the investigators, investigate, Christopher Steele, whatever. And so this is a really important question here. And Kamala Harris moves on. Very disturbing answers from William Barr.
In your March 24th summary, you wrote that, quote, after reviewing the special counsel's final report.
But I will say that no one.
Sir, I'm asking a question. In your March 24th summary, you wrote that, quote, after reviewing the special counsel's final report, Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein and I have concluded that the evidence is not sufficient to establish that the president committed an obstruction of justice offense.
Look at Booker.
Now, the special counsel's investigation produced a great deal of evidence. I'm led to believe it included witnesses' notes and emails, witnesses' congressional testimony, witnesses' interviews, which were summarized in the FBI 302 forms, former FBI Director Comey's memos, and the president's public statements. My question
This is key.
is, in reaching your conclusion, did you personally review all of the underlying evidence?
So understand, she's saying, you told us that based on the evidence, you weren't going to indict Trump, prosecute Trump for obstruction. Did you look at the evidence that you claimed was the basis for that decision?
No, we took and accepted. We
did
accepted
Mr.
the
Rosenstein?
No, we accepted the statements in the report as the factual record. We did not go underneath it to see whether or not they were accurate. We accepted it as accurate and made our.
So you accepted the report as the evidence?
Yes.
You did not question or look at the underlying evidence that supports the conclusions in the report?
No.
Did Mr. Rosenstein review the evidence that
This will come back to
underlines
haunt him.
and supports the conclusions in the report, to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. We accepted the statements in the report,
Did
and
anyone
their
in your-
characterization of the evidence is true.
Did anyone in your executive office review the evidence supporting the report?
No.
No. Yet you represented to the American public that the evidence was not, quote, sufficient to support an obstruction of justice.
How could you know what the evidence did or didn't support if you didn't look at the evidence?
The evidence presented in the report. This is not mysterious process. In the Department of Justice, we have pros memos and declination memos every day coming up. And we don't go and look at the underlying evidence.
Sir, would you support
we take the characterization of the evidence as true?
As the Attorney General of the United States, you run the United States Department of Justice. If in any U.S. attorney's office around the country, the head of that office, when being asked to make a critical decision about, in this case, the person who holds the highest office in the land,
right,
and whether or not that person committed a crime, would you accept them recommending a charging decision to you if they had not reviewed the evidence?
Well, that's a question for Bob Mueller. He's the U.S. attorney. He's the one who presents the report.
So this is a key mistake that William Barr makes. He's saying, don't ask me about this. Ask Robert Mueller because he's the prosecutor. And this allows Kamala Harris to get directly into, well, who exactly did make this decision? And Cory Booker is thinking, who had gone right, he was the Democrat who went before her. Damn, she's doing way better at this than I did.
But it was you who made the charging decision, sir. You made the decision not to charge.
Key moment, okay? The 2 seconds of stunned silence right there are the realization by William Barr that this is not going in a good direction for him.
Charge the president.
No, in a pros memo and in a declination memo.
You said it was your baby. What did you mean by that?
It was my baby to decide whether or not to disclose it to the public.
And whose decision was it? Who had the power to make the decision about whether or not the evidence was sufficient to make a determination of whether there had been an obstruction of justice?
Prosecution memos go up to the supervisor. In this case, it was the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General who decide on the final decision. And that is based on the memo as presented by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
I think you've made it clear that you've not looked at the evidence. We can move on. I think you've made it clear, sir, that you've not looked at the evidence, and we can move on. Will you agree to consult career DOJ ethics officials about whether your recusal from the 14 investigations that have been
let me
discussed
skip
by
ahead
my
a little to
colleagues
get back to the part I'm
specific
focusing
discussion on the floor
here.
that he would be responsible for supervising the Russian investigation.
I'm glad you brought up
now
that.
I went too far. Let me go back. This is the Rosen.
You have consulted with them about the 14 other investigations?
About the Mueller case.
Have you consulted with the career DOJ ethics officials about the appropriateness of you being involved or recusing yourself from the 14 other investigations that have been referred out?
On what basis?
Conflict of interest, clear conflict of interest.
What's my conflict of interest?
I think the American public has seen quite well that you are biased in this situation and you've not been objective, and that would arguably be the conflict of interest.
Well, I haven't been the only decision maker here.
Here we
Now,
go.
Let's take the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, who was approved by this Senate 94-6 with specific discussion on the floor that he would be responsible for supervising the Russian investigation.
I'm glad you brought up that.
Okay,
That's a
and
great
he has 30
topic.
years
So
experience.
this is now the broaching of a completely new issue, which is, wait a second. Did you make these decisions about indictments and prosecutions, or did Rod Rosenstein make them? Because Rod Rosenstein was a witness in that investigation. And if you're telling us, William Barr, that someone who was a witness in the investigation is making prosecution decisions about that same investigation, we now have a real problem on our hands. And Kamala Harris is all over.
And we had a number of senior prosecutors in the department involved in this process, both career and non-career.
Yes, I've read
all
the
agreed on
process,
the
sir.
disposition.
I have another question. And I'm glad you brought that subject up because I have a question about that. Earlier today, in response to Senator Graham, you said, quote, that you consulted with Rosenstein constantly, unquote, with respect to the special counsel's investigation and report. But Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein is also a key witness in the firing of FBI Director Comey. Did you consult with I'm not finished.
Yeah.
Did you consult with DOJ ethics officials before you enlisted Rod Rosenstein to participate in a charging decision for an investigation, the subject of which he is also a witness?
Pretzel time.
My understanding was that he had been cleared already to participate in it by the.
So you had consulted with them and they cleared it?
Well, not exactly.
No, I think they cleared it when he took over the investigation.
Did you
That's my
consult?
understanding.
You don't know whether he's been cleared of a
He-
conflict of interest?
He would be participating if there was a conflict of interest.
So you're saying that it did not need to be reviewed by the career ethics officials in your office
believe
to
it- I
determine
believe
if
it
it was
was-
appropriate?
Well, I believe it was reviewed, and I
And what
would
was the
also point
finding?
out this seems to be a bit of a flip-flop because
Oh,
when
boy.
the president's
Sir,
supporters
the
were challenging
flip-flop, I think, in this
Rosenstein.
case is that you're not answering the question directly.
What?
Did the ethics officials in your office, in the Department of Justice, review the appropriateness of Rod Rosenstein being a part of making a charging decision on an investigation which he is also a witness in?
Yeah, so as I said, my understanding was he had been cleared and he
Right.
had been cleared
Everything's
before.
fine, he says. So what beardless Steve Bannon, as I like to refer to William Barr, is telling us here is that it's not really clear how he determined that it's okay for Rosenstein to be making prosecutorial decisions. It's not really clear who even made the decision, but it's definitely clear that whoever made the decision didn't look at any of the actual underlying evidence and instead used a political interpretation of the Mueller report as they decided to understand it, to say within 48 hours of getting the Mueller report, yeah, no, Trump's good. Trump's good on obstruction. We don't need to worry about that. This man needs to be removed. Okay, this is a man who needs to be impeached, period, in William Barr. It is completely unacceptable. It is a comical subjugation of the process of justice, checks and balances, the way these things are supposed to work. And just congratulations to Kamala Harris here for exposing him. And again, one of the funniest parts of this entire thing is Cory Booker sitting there after sort of like getting in one or two reasonable questions, but not really doing a great job of exposing William Barr, sitting there with a smirk that is both interested in what Kamala Harris is doing, but also recognizing that she is just way, way better at this than he is, and an extraordinarily good job. And by tomorrow's program, where we're going to continue talking about this testimony, we will probably have significantly more sort of detail about the full scope of the trouble that this guy got himself into. Okay, I'm going to get to the Mueller letter to Barr in a second, but let me do a couple things. Number one, a lot of people want the phone lines opened. I'm willing to do that if we get 10 new members on our website. We have one so far, and that's Philip Weinberg. Okay, Philip signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Philip used the coupon code, which gives him a discount. That coupon code is ThisIs2020. That saves you 40%. And we are at 1 out of 10. 10's not a lot, okay? There's 2,500 people watching right now. If only 1/3 of 1% of you get a membership at davidpakman.com/membership, these phone lines will be open before you know it. And I guess there's people who want to call in and call me out on all sorts of different things. And I welcome that. That's not something that I'm scared of. And I look forward to hearing from you. If you want, like, this is what we would call an unpublished discount. If you use the coupon code SAVE35 on the $60 a year membership, it'll drop it to $25. That's not a coupon code that is being mentioned anywhere other than this stream. You'll get a membership for just $25, and that's a fantastic deal, and it'll get the phone lines opened. And by the way, phone line priority can be had if you sign up and include your area code in either the first or last name field when you become a member. I will make a note of your area code, and if and when the phone lines get opened, you will get on the phone with me first. So that is that's happening, and I think that's a very exciting thing. Okay, let's get to some super chats because there are a whole bunch that are coming in. I already talked about Joseph Dinsies wants the phones open so Mark can prove me wrong. We'll see if that happens. Nabil Kavari says, David, you rock, bro. Thanks for going live. My pleasure. Kathy Farrar is a new member on YouTube. We'll count those, although we only keep 70% of YouTube memberships. We keep like 98% of website memberships, but we'll still count Kathy. She is number 2 of the evening. New Made Umosa says, take my money, David. 10 British pounds. I appreciate it. Real Life Jolie is a new member. That's new member number 3. Appreciate the YouTube memberships. Remember, we keep almost all the money when you sign up on our website. We only keep 70% when you sign up on YouTube. Sam Dean from Australia says, G'day, the Australian election is May 18th. Since T. Rump is probably mentally deficient, What stance would you like our party leaders to take on political relations with America now and into the future? Cautious reservation is what I would advise around Donald Trump. Unfortunately, when he tells you something, you can't really believe that he's going to stick to it, as we've seen with the Iran deal and with so many other things. So I would advise extreme caution for Australian elected officials. Peter Kuraney with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you. G says DP, 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 DP. Thank you very much. Andrew Betke with an $8 New Zealand dollar super chat. Why have recent congressional testimonies just been grilling from our senators and representatives and not enough substantive questioning? Well, listen, what is substantive depends on what you think is important, right? I mean, at this point in time with William Barr, we have a blatant extreme propagandist who is playing the role of a law enforcement official. That needs to be exposed, and thus I think the grillings make a lot of sense. The Progressive Voice wants to know my thoughts on face sitting. No thoughts there. Thoughts on Boston versus Milwaukee. I'm a Celtics guy. Yeah, what else can I say? Celtics all the way. Terry James with a $5 super chat. Can a politician shift public opinion on an unpopular position, or should they follow the public? Well, you're saying can they, and then later you're saying should they? I think both. Politicians can influence public opinions, but they also should be representing their constituents. And one of the primary problems we have with our current system of government is that we see elected officials that are mostly doing the political will of corporations, rich people, and other people who are already elected officials rather than their constituents. And it's a sort of fundamental problem with representative democracy. Anthony Watson with a $1.99 super chat says, nice work. Hugo McChunky. Oh, I grew up with a guy named McChunky. Hugo McChunky is a new member. That is, wait, hold on. That's one. I've lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the Burger Terminator is new member number 5 of the evening. We're targeting 10, and I'll open up the phone lines at 617-830-4750. Real Life Joe Lee says, hey, David, what about my membership? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what membership you're referring to, but if you have one, I very much appreciate it. Enter Name says, why is Mark Dice obsessed with you? I don't know that he is. I mean, there was the thing with conspiracy theorist Mark Dice a few months ago where we had like a really weird private exchange on Twitter. We went private on Twitter, and he told me some really, really strange things. And I went public about what those were. And it was kind of a one-off incident. I don't know about him being obsessed with me beyond that. Enter Name says, thoughts on Kyle Kulinski saying you are a centrist. Had no idea that he said that. I was texting with him yesterday. I mean, I don't think that that's accurate. I just did my political compass test, and I also did some others that people had me do. There's one called like 8 values or 8 something. I forget what it is. I did every political test people threw at me, and I came out very, very left on all of them. So I think it is if Kyle said that, I want him to defend it with facts, because facts don't care about feelings or something like that, I once heard. Tate Torello says, possible strategy for Bernie to pass up Biden. I don't even know what that means. For Bernie to pass up Biden? Do you mean to pass him in the polls? I mean, the only strategy I recommend politicians take is tell us honestly what your political positions are. And if they make sense and appeal to people, people will vote for you. Kind of naive and simplistic, but that's the way that it should work. Amazing Shooter says, David, will you ever interview Bernie? Anytime he wants, I'm ready. Just say the word. Enter Name says, Kyle called you a centrist to Nico House. I have no idea what that is or what that means. But as I said, I just had my workup. I had the equivalent of a political blood test done, and it came out very left, very left. And I'm willing to take any political test to prove my credentials. Keith sends a $2 super chat. Zombie Gangs to Samurai. I don't know what that is. Says, David, you and Destiny are like the Ken and Ryu of the left. Now, Ken and Ryu, I remember, what was that video game I used to play growing up? It's either Final Fight or Streets of Rage, I think it is, where you would pick Ken, Ryu, or it wasn't like Hagar or something like that, the third character you could play as. Lion Jones says, do you think Barr will turn up to the House tomorrow? Don't know. If he does, I'll be watching. And Austin Clark sends a $1 super chat. Okay, do people want me to take phone calls at 617-830-4750? If so, we are looking for 10 new members at davidpakman.com/membership. You might wonder, how on earth does this program exist? What is it that is going on that allows this program to exist? Either because you like it and you want it to continue, or just you don't understand how something so horrifying to you can exist. And the answer is not George Soros, not the Koch brothers, not YouTube ad revenue, which is very irregular, but it's memberships. It's just people who say, hey, David, I kind of like what you do and I'm going to support it on your website. And there are 2 coupon codes currently available, which will give you the members only bonus show, the commercial free audio and video streams, all of that stuff. At a huge, deep discount. Who doesn't like discounts? If you use the coupon code This Is 2020 on any membership, you'll save 40%. Okay, that means a $6 membership is just $3.60 a month. That means a $60 a year membership is only $36, et cetera, subtracting 40% from things. However, there is like an extra special coupon code available, which is not being promoted anywhere other than right here. And that coupon code is SAVE35. No space, all lowercase. SAVE35. The coupon code SAVE35 only works on a $60 a year membership. I see people typing in the chat, I'm getting invalid coupon code. It only works on the $60 membership, and it'll drop the price from $60 to just $25. Let me thank a whole bunch of awesome new people. Actually, I'll do that in a bit. Let me do the Barr Mueller letter first, just because we do now have it and I want to talk about it. Okay, we now have the letter that Robert Mueller sent to William Barr. Let's take a look at it. Dear Attorney General Barr, I previously sent you a letter dated March 25 that enclosed the introduction and executive summary for each volume of my report, marked with redactions to remove information which could be protected, so on and so forth. Accordingly, the enclosed documents are in a form that can be released to the public consistent with legal requirements and department policies. I am requesting that you provide these materials to Congress, etc. As we stated in our meeting on March 5th and reiterated to the department, the introductions and executive summaries are accurately summarize this office's work and conclusions. The summary letter the department sent to Congress and released to the public late in the afternoon on March 24th did not fully capture the context, nature, and substance of this office's work and conclusions. If you understand legalese and you understand restraint and you understand Robert Mueller, this is scathing, okay? He is saying that even though, as he says multiple times, he sent a whole bunch of stuff that fully explains the investigation's results to the Justice Department, that what was put out by William Barr does not capture the context of what was said by Robert Mueller. It doesn't capture the nature of what was said, and it doesn't capture the substance of the work and the conclusions. In other words, it's inaccurate. It's a mischaracterization. Mueller rather goes on to say, we communicated that concern to the department on the morning of March 25th. This is sort of like per my previous email, right? There is now public confusion about critical aspects of the results of our investigation. This threatens to undermine a central purpose for which the department appointed the special counsel to assure full public confidence in the outcome of the investigations. This is Mueller saying, you're not telling the truth about what we said, and this defeats the purpose of doing an investigation. What's the point of doing it if you're just going to mischaracterize what it is that we did? While we understand that the department is reviewing the full report to determine what is appropriate for public release, this was before the release of the report, a process that our office is working with you to complete. That process need not delay release of the enclosed materials. This is Mueller saying Release what I'm sending you ASAP because it's that important. Release at this time would alleviate the misunderstandings that have arisen and would answer congressional and public questions about the nature and outcome of our investigation. It would also accord with the standard for public release of notifications to Congress cited in your letter. Listen, I mean, if you're of the mindset that there's nothing to see here, then I'm not going to convince you otherwise, right? But if you understand legalese and you understand the way that Robert Mueller has comported himself throughout this probe, this is Robert Mueller saying, what you're doing is horrible, effectively. I don't know how to summarize it any further. Okay, let me say thank you to some new members that have signed up. A bunch of people have signed up, and I want to thank them because it's so important. Brian Gamma or Gama has signed up on our website. Tim Morse is a new member. Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate it. Stephen Crowley has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Luke Bryan is a new member at davidpakman.com/membership. Rufus Codwell is a new member at davidpakman.com/membership. Paying full price, mind you. Appreciate that. Gabriel Kastenbaum. You know, that is so fun. I have a story about that last name, Kastenbaum. My family has a really good friend from Argentina, friend of the family. In fact, it's a long story, but it doesn't matter. And he once told me that as a goof, when he would go places and order food, and they would say in the U.S., which is a common, he would visit the U.S. from Argentina, and, you know, some places you go and you put your name in and then they call out your name. And he just thought it was really funny to give the name Diego Castelboim. And so for a while, I just found that really funny when I was like 17 or 18 and I would do the same thing. And seeing Gabriel Kastenbaum sign up just brings back memories from my youth. I appreciate that. Jury James is a new member on our website. Sean Murphy has signed up. Jury and Sean, thank you. I really appreciate your support. Matthew Holler is a new member on our website. Kurt Kellner has signed up, and I really do appreciate that. Dallas Spivey has signed up and has also included their area code. So if and when we open up the phone lines, which we're going to because we have so many people signing up, Dallas is going to get, I wonder if Dallas is the name or saying like, I'm from Dallas. I don't know. That will be our first caller when we open up the phone lines. Bertil Nilsson has signed up, taking advantage of the Save 35 massive discount code. And then Drake Jensen has also signed up on our website. So that is more than enough new members to justify opening up the phone line. So I'm going to get the phone lines opened at 617-830-4750. Once again, the number 617-830-4750. Maybe a couple of people can type it into the chat so that I don't have to keep repeating it. So if people want to start calling in, we can get set up for that, and I will take phone calls momentarily. In the meantime, a few other super chats I want to address. A herd of space ducks says, quack, thank you for extra information every day. My pleasure. Slash says, what are your thoughts, Dem changing position towards Israel, and what are your suggestions to change that? Greetings from Germany. I don't understand. Which Democrats changed their position and in what way? I apologize. I don't fully understand the question. Real Life Jolie says, sorry, David, I actually sent that right after you said that there was just one member. That was not me, really. When I did just add a YouTube membership to my site one to make you say my name again. Okay. I'm not sure if that's some kind of like voice to text thing. Joseph Dinsies, Mark Dice is in your chat showing us you are fake news. It's time to meet your maker. Mark Dice is watching my stream. That's interesting. Maybe he'll call in. I don't know. Do you think teacher wages issue should be raised? Yes, teachers are underpaid in just about every state. I saw an interesting study or graphic yesterday saying that teachers are underpaid in every state. They are the least underpaid in Rhode Island, and in mostly red states, they are extraordinarily underpaid. Bobby Beans, do you have honest optimism for democracy with the increasing spread of misinformation and lack of critical thinking? No, I have cautious optimism. I have tentative optimism that something will improve, but I can't say that I have honest and full optimism. Econotus Aconitis says, when will you take the bread pill reading Kropotkin? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Rufus Codwell with a $24.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Amazing Shooter says Destiny and Pac-Man 1v1 soon in basketball. Who will win? I don't know. So Destiny and I are both 5'8". And he said he doesn't really play basketball, and I used to, but haven't for a while. So I don't know who would take that. But if I go to LA or he comes to Boston, we'll do it. A horror fan for life says, sent you a super chat yesterday. No answer. I apologize for that. We didn't get to every super chat yesterday. But I wish you had just included what the question was here, because then I would be able to just address it right away. Okay, let me get to the phone lines. The phone lines are open at 617-830-4750. Let me first look for that new member who wants to get on from area code 912, who is not here. Okay, so 912, if you want to get on, I'm standing by for your call. Let's start with the caller from the 972 area code. Who's calling today from 972?
This is Alex Watkins.
Hey, Alex, what's going on?
Hi, let me start by saying I'm a big fan. I didn't think I was going to get selected.
Thank you.
I watch you all the time. Thank you for
So, Alex,
being
I
a great
apologize
source
for
alternative-
interrupting. I hate that I have to do this, but there is both.
Yeah.
It appears that there's something on in the background and your connection's going in and out. Can we solve either or both of those issues?
Yes. I turned off whatever's in the background, and I will walk over to the corner of the room, hopefully get better connection.
Very good.
With
Yes.
my
I love it when
Wi-Fi.
people call from the corner of the room.
Yes, that is the optimal place, as you know. I can't believe I'm speaking to you. This is crazy.
Well, what's going on? What's on your mind?
I was, you know who the Progressive Voice is, I'm sure. And,
Of course.
I'm sort of a fan of him, I guess you could say. And I was watching a video of his the other day, and he was basically implying you were a fan of Joe Biden by the video you put out, where you said that you thought he could debate well against Trump. And that's basically the only context that I thought you meant.
Right.
Was, you thought he could beat Trump. He was a good debater, and that was it. Can you clarify for us if you feel that you support Biden in any other way?
No, you've said it. I mean, I do think that Joe Biden historically has been a really good debater. He embarrassed Paul Ryan. I think he's a good debater. And based only on, like I've reported, polling says Biden could beat Trump, but Biden's not one of the people that I am sort of favoring. If he's the nominee, I'll vote for the guy, of course. But yeah, you've clarified my position perfectly, as if it needed clarification.
I didn't think it did. I just thought, well, what am I going to ask him? I guess I'll ask him about this.
Right.
But thank you so much for taking my call, David. And,
My pleasure. Great to
I
hear
look
from
forward to
you.
watching you in the future.
Thank you so much. Very, very good to hear from you. Okay, let me say a couple other thank yous, because memberships are just exploding. I mean, it is an explosive situation on our website. I already mentioned a couple of these. Richard Martinez is a new member. Thank you so much. And Brooke Babcock is a new member, which I really appreciate. And there was another area code membership, which I think I might have missed here. Hold on. 912 we mentioned. Berto, Drake. These things are just flowing quick. Oh, I see. Oh, Keith Clem. Oh, potentially a Massachusetts caller from the 508. Okay, Keith, thank you. I see your membership. And if you call in, we are looking for who gets priority right now, 912 and 508, which is funny because if you're not one of those people and you call in from those area codes, you're probably going to get on pretty quickly. Okay, let's go next to our caller from the 925 area code. Who's calling today from 925?
Actually, that might be me. I'm Robert Cornerby. I live in East Bay, east of San Francisco, Northern California.
That is indeed you, Robert. Great to hear from you.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
So I just wanted to ask, I mean, do you think that Joe Biden actually has legs to beat Trump in the next election or not?
Listen, what do I know? I mean, I thought Trump was going to lose to Hillary, so I'm clueless, right? But my assessment right now is, well, yeah, I mean, the day before the election, I thought Hillary was going to win, and I was wrong. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not much of a predictor. That's clear.
I didn't think much of it until that tape about grabbing him by the
Right.
came out and destroyed the other guy and rolled right off of Trump like it was nothing.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, what can
I
what can I tell you today? What I can tell you today is, in general, I don't think the best strategy for Democrats is to run towards the middle. I think it's to run to the left, which is where the country is increasingly moving. Joe Biden represents
yeah,
running towards the middle, so that's like a point against him. In
yeah,
hypothetical polling matchups, Joe Biden does well, so that suggests maybe he can beat Trump. But what the hell do I know? You know?
yeah. No, I hear you. I don't know. With the Mueller report that came out and everything, I got that same feeling when that came out. Yeah, I'm sure there's some damning stuff in there, but it's not going to get out in time before the 2020 election. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think?
I just don't know, but I mean, I think, listen, ultimately, this is going to be turnout. I actually think that the particulars of the quote electability of the candidates are less of a factor than do we have a full and fair election and what's the turnout like?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I didn't vote in the last election because I didn't want to vote for Hillary, and damn sure didn't want to vote for Trump.
What state do you live
Uh,
in? So were you voting in California then?
yeah.
You were.
Well,
Okay.
I voted. First time I could vote was Obama's first term. I voted then.
Yeah.
Turns out change is a very ambiguous word. You can change things either way you want.
Yeah.
I voted for him again for his second term. The kill list, the drones, all that kind of turned me off. And I just could not bring myself to vote for Hillary or Trump.
Right. Well, listen, I would encourage you not to stay home again. And I get that in California it didn't make a difference, but just participate, okay?
Yeah. What is California? 51 representatives
I don't remember
on the
offhand.
electoral? I want to say it's like 51 or 54.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I've heard Oprah thrown around a few times, and with the state of things the way they are, I don't know. I think she might have legs if she were to decide to run as the Democratic candidate.
Let's hope she doesn't. Robert, I got a bunch of people holding, so I'm going to let you go. Really appreciate the call from the Bay Area. Let me deal with a couple of super chats here. Arisis Love says, red gels, very suspicious. Oh, yeah, I added a little bit of orange to the, hold on. A little bit of orange to the set just to test it out, see if people like it. Bet it all 33. If people aren't obligated to answer questions, as in recent congressional hearings, what can be done? Are hearings futile? That's not a new question, unfortunately. That's been an issue. I don't know what can be done, and it is easy not to answer questions. Keith sends a $2 super chat, and Hugo McChunky says, hey, David, became a member. My area code is 774. Okay, I'm going to go to you next. I see you holding. But before I do that, welcome to Mark Woodruff, James Forst, Deanna Figgins, and Brody Andrew Mulligan, who is back on the membership train. Very, very exciting. Okay, let me pick up now on 774. Is this Hugo?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, hey, how's it going, David?
Good. Is this Hugo McChunky?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's going on? Where are you calling from, Massachusetts?
Yeah, just south of Worcester.
Oh, all right. Where are you in, like Uxbridge, for example?
In Dudley, actually.
Sorry, what town?
Dudley? It's
Dudley.
It's like south of Oxford.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the most
Oh.
exciting part of the state, I will admit, but very scenic.
It's very depressing.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it, but you did.
But
so.
yeah. But no, I just wanted to start off by saying, I discovered your channel a few weeks ago, and as far as unbiased, keeping things rational, I haven't seen anybody take on politics like you have, and
Thank
I love
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
But for a bigger question, I mean, where do you see this, like looking forward into the future, where do you see this country going in the next, 10 years or so? So I've been struggling with that a lot lately, to the point where I'm considering just jumping ship and going to Germany.
Really? Oh, so how do you have some way to legally move to Germany?
Well, I'm a dual citizen of Portugal, so it's like I have
Oh.
that going for me, so I can just, go to the EU and kind of do my thing.
Right. Yeah, I've been working on my
Yeah.
Polish citizenship, and it's very difficult because for the same reason as you, actually, just to have more options. I mean, it's like I can go back to Argentina anytime I want and just get my passport updated since I was born there, but the economy there is a train wreck. I can
Oh yeah,
go
same in
to
Portugal.
Israel and go through the process, of what's called making aliyah, but that's not super interesting to me at this point in time. So it seems the EU is an interesting possibility, but there's like crazy paperwork issues that I'm having. And anyway, it's fascinating that you're able to do that. So the next 10 years, there's a couple ways that it could go. One, do we start taking seriously that over the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, the economy has become untenably unequal in a way that is extraordinarily damaging to the sort of fabric of the country as it arguably should be functioning? Or is it more of the same, more inequality, more sort of vulture capitalism and everything else we've been talking about? That's one question that will make a big difference over the next 10 years. Number two, do we, but not just we in the United States and really the entire world, say that there's the crisis of climate change and we can't sort of like pussyfoot around, mealy mouth, pay lip service to doing something and not really do it? I mean, those are the at the top level two of the most important issues that will dictate what it's like to live in the United States in 10 years.
Oh, definitely.
And I have no clue what
Yeah.
direction it's going to go. A lot of it has to do with who we vote for in 2020 and 2024.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, do you see kind of the problems with the separation between the high class and the poor? Do you see that kind of influencing like our culture and how it's become so just toxic?
Of course. Of course. I mean, you
Like, do
have
you see yeah.
that combined with social media and the constant sort of looking glass at celebrities and wealthy people and materialism, which all along, I mean, poor and lower middle class and middle class people knew that there were people living that way. Like everybody knew it, It's not like it was a secret that was hidden from us that exists. But now that it is so front and center in people's lives every single day, it's extraordinarily exacerbating the issues you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I could talk about that for hours.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have a conversation in 2 weeks. I'm interviewing Cal Newport, and this is like one of his big issues, and I'll be talking to him about it.
Oh, right on. I'll be looking forward to seeing that. But hey, I'm actually going to be in Northampton over the weekend. You want to grab a beer?
Oh, I live in Boston, actually.
Oh, you live in Boston? Oh, okay. You used to live in Northampton.
Yeah, exactly. But here's my recommendation. Go to a great place in Northampton for beer is the Dirty Truth right downtown. Great beer selection.
Dirty Truth. I've
Yeah.
heard of it. I haven't been there. I'll have to check that out.
All right. I encourage you to do it. Okay. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Take it easy.
Okay. Take care. Okay, a couple other super chats, and then I'll get back to the phones. Horror Fan for Life says, question, being a Howard Stern fan, would you include Jesse Lee Peterson as a whackpacker? Seems to fit with some of the best. What are your thoughts? P.S. Trump obstructed. Whackpackers on the Howard Stern show, I mean, they frequently have strange speech patterns, and Jesse Lee Peterson definitely has one. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's something there. The Sandbox Bandit says with a $2 super chat, here you go, David, buy Pat something nice. Sean Johnson says, what would it take to get Mueller in front of Congress, and would it help his case against Trump Barr? I read one article today that says that Mueller is going to testify before Congress, although I don't, it was a Democrat who said he believes Mueller will. I don't know if that's the case. Keith says, I liked all the blue and white for the backdrop. Very tranquil. Let's take a poll. Yeah, I could go either way on the orange. I mean, I'm just trying things out, but we'll see what kind of a decision we ultimately make. King Potato Head says 912 at work didn't think we'd get to 10 that fast. Oh, okay. Let me see if 912 is holding now. Oh, I guess you're saying you can't call in because you're at work. Okay. Philip Young says, I like Pat and Pat likes me. Secrets out, folks. Okay, Philip. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Let me see if I have anybody else holding from our priority list. Denise McGee signed up. And I'm not seeing any other phone numbers that match up. So let me go next to, oh man, there are 3 callers holding right now. None are Jimmy from Philly, by the way, but who have been flagged as more unusual types of callers. And I don't know if people are interested in me doing that. You can tell me in the chat, but in the meantime, I'll go over to 909. I believe 909 is someone who has not called in before. Who's there?
Hello, this is Daniel.
Hey,
How are you?
Daniel.
Hi, I'm kind of a new fan, and I really enjoy the content and nuance you bring to a lot of the, political topics that you've been talking about.
Thank you.
So just wanted to get that. And I just wanted to call in and talk about Andrew Yang's UBI's criticism that I've been hearing from a lot of progressive commentators, such as yourself and the Humanist Report.
Yeah.
So for context, many progressives have seemed to support UBI in general, but they believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they believe a shortcoming of Yang's plan is that it doesn't help some of the people, currently on welfare programs and Social Security.
I think that's fair,
that
right? If you're
accurate?
replacing, so I think the idea is that if UBI is opt-in and it's replacing dollar for dollar welfare benefits up to the first 1,000, you're not really raising people's standard of living.
Sure. And if you give me a chance, I kind of want to just present maybe an alternate view of that, because I actually work in both the tech industry that actually deals with like financial services for these people.
Okay.
So on the offset, I do agree that it does not address a lot of maybe some of like the very needy. I think that is a limitation to the plan. However, it does also, I think we can also still agree that it does help the vast majority of working Americans. We know, for example, 4% are actually on disability, so the 95% that are working, that they would vastly benefit from a UBI, correct? So, but this also helps people who are, working uncompensated work, like stay-at-home moms and dads. And also it seems to, it would also empower those who are on welfare, but that technically do not need to be, right? So, people.
What do you mean do not technically don't? What does that mean technically don't need to be?
In the sense that there are people, for example, that would claim disabilities. I mean, however small that segment could be, there are people who do claim disability that could technically still work in different capacities, perhaps.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, the free rider problem is
Sure.
a problem with any kind of social insurance
Sure,
thing,
of
but
course.
I don't know that I've seen no evidence that that's a significant enough group that I would be
Sure,
sort of like
sure.
making an argument about policy on that basis.
Sure, I'm just simply saying that is a segment that the UBI could benefit them as well if they wanted to, transition from that position, right?
Okay.
So on top of that, there's also, since I do work in like a financial and tech sector, like there are people, for example, who trade in their current benefits for cents on the dollars. People who trade in food stamps, for like say 70 cents on the dollar, so they're actually getting less than they're actually receiving from the government because they want the flexibility of using that money to use it in their actual needs, right?
I totally understand what you're saying. I just think that you're kind of like bundling a bunch of edge cases together to defend the replacement of welfare with UBI, and I think that however we evaluate the significance of any of these edge cases, I just think that fundamentally this should not be a dollar for dollar replacement for the people on the lowest end of the income spectrum, because that is sort of like self-defeating. It runs counter to why I think we should have UBI.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think you would, like you were saying before, that, as capitalism, grows and like, I guess a crony capitalist state, which, income inequality is, running rampant, that, a UBI would also still vastly improve the lives of most working Americans, not even just the edge cases. Like I was saying, like the 95% or 90% that are working below the median income level, right? So
hold on, let me think about that math. You're saying it would improve the lives of the 90% of the bottom 50%. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Like, for example, most people, let's say the median income level in the United States is $50,000, even though varies state to state, obviously.
Sure.
But an extra $12,000 vastly improves anyone from, working, poverty level 12,000 and up, which is a vast amount of people, right?
Yes, I agree. But
now,
it would improve the lives even more of somebody who earns a lot less than that. And that's, I think, the main argument for why we shouldn't be just replacing welfare benefits with it.
Right. So that's what I was even including, people who are working gig contract, especially $12,000, poverty line. Now, that's why I guess I view UBI as a superior policy over, say, a $15 minimum wage, just because there are, contract workers. I mean, the gig contract work is increasing, as part of, the totality of our working force. Like it seems like a $15 minimum wage would make a lot more sense, 20 years ago as opposed to our shifting economy now.
Okay, well now we're kind
I
of
don't know how
getting
you feel
into
about that.
these are policies that a lot of times people talk about them as either or, but they actually sort of address
Sure.
different
Yeah,
but
sorry.
overlapping issues. But I think that basically, for me, making sure that for the poorest people, UBI doesn't become a dollar
Mhm,
for dollar replacement that doesn't actually lift the
mhm.
standard of living, other than in these kind of marginal and sort of um, uh,
Sure.
other ways that you're talking about, it's more of a priority for me than for you, and it seems like we just have a disagreement.
Yeah. Just one last point. I guess my main question is that while I think we do see eye to eye on a lot of these things, and I do agree with you. I guess it just seems an interesting standard to hold UBI as some sort of cure-all or panacea for all of the social ailments.
Oh, I
That
don't think it is.
for
I
all these.
mean, I hope you're not saying I hold it that way. I've
No,
actually
no,
made it
not
clear
you.
that it
No.
doesn't address
Uh,
the fundamental
right.
inequalities and
Uh,
corporate control of our economy.
No, certainly not. And I feel like it seems like not you specifically, but I've seen other progressive commentators. You know, I guess it seems like they're holding it to a standard where they say like, oh, it doesn't solve these problems at the edges, but like most of say, Sanders' plan for working America wouldn't address those either. It just seems like there's a different standard of like, okay, I don't support this, therefore Yang's platform is not good for the country, or a $15 minimum wage and guaranteed jobs is better for most Americans. I just when I'm looking at an economic policy for working America, it just seems like Sanders, even I do support Sanders. I really like him. It just seems like we don't criticize his plan, saying, oh, it doesn't affect people on Social Security, it doesn't affect people on disability.
I
You do
think I
see
got
what
it.
my
I
criticism?
think I got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I appreciate the
yeah,
call, Daniel. I've got 20 people
yeah. Thank
holding,
you.
so I'm going to let you go.
Sure.
But I think
Oh,
point
appreciate your
point
time.
made, and I understand what you're saying. Okay, let's try something a little different. Let's go to uh, Casey from the 360. Casey 360, what's going on?
Oh, hey, man, I'm just listening. You can hang up on me.
If I hang, I don't even understand you're just listening. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm just listening to the program through the phone, buddy.
Can the phone not access YouTube?
Well, I want to use data.
You don't want to use data.
If that's okay with you. Do you understand?
Yeah, okay. So I guess you'll have to call back in to listen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hang up on you now, Casey. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what else we got. Okay. It's been a while. I'll just go to Jimmy from Philly. Jimmy, it's been a while since we've heard from you. Last few times I haven't gone to you. What's going on with you?
David, the last caller, if this is indicative of the people that listen to you, I would say,
Well, you're
for
listening.
the most part,
You're listening, though. Yeah.
it's indicative of the people. Well, I only listen for entertainment value.
That's why they listen.
No, they think you're telling them the truth, David, but I know different.
I am telling the truth.
What? Yeah, Candace Owens, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, and it's Bernie Sanders thing. Bernie Sanders got screwed in a rigged election and said nothing. The notion that he would stand up for the United States when he did for himself is laughable.
Jimmy, you called in with this exact thing already. Like last time I picked up on you, you called in with this exact
Yeah, well,
thing.
no. I called in and left a voicemail. I
Okay.
also called in and said I would join if you lifted the ban on me on YouTube.
Jimmy, I don't know what you're talking about. You'll join
Well,
what
your
if
team
I
didn't
lift
catch
what
up to
ban?
it yet.
What ban are you talking about?
I'm banned on YouTube.
Okay, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, you do. Because the moderator's employed by you, so you would know.
Employed.
Or
They're
you could find
volunteer,
out.
Jimmy.
Okay. Well, I've already made the statement that I'm banned, so you could lift the ban, David.
Why'd you get banned?
I don't know. I
You
must
have
have
no
said something bad.
Were you saying insulting things to other people in the chat?
If they insulted me, absolutely, I hit back.
Right, but then they would have been banned first, right?
I don't know how it works. With progressives, it's usually, you start something and then you ban the person that fights back.
I
That's
just got
how
a
it works in the
message. I just got a
progressive
message from our moderator that you're not banned, that you may not know how to use a computer.
No, bullshit. I don't use a computer. I use my phone. I can't type in the live chat. No one answers me on YouTube anymore, and that means I'm shadow banned.
People might just be ignoring you, but I'm being told you're not banned.
No. On the live chat, I can't. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Tell me, Jimmy. Tell me.
While we're on the phone, I'm going to see if I can type on your live chat, all right?
All right. Let's take a look.
I'm going to tell you right now. What's that?
Let's take a look.
Yeah. Give me a second. There it is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Pac-Man.
I'm waiting for it right now.
Live? All right. I'm going to just type a few. I typed KKK. Nope. It don't come up. I'm banned.
Well, KKK may actually just be getting
Well,
picked up
then
by
I
the spam
didn't, David, that was the first letter I hit. I'm just laughing, but 888. Nope.
Hey, you know what? You're right. It's not showing up, so I don't know what's going on.
No. That means I'm banned. I'm shadow banned, David. That's what it means.
Well, listen, I'm sure
if you unban me, I will join under Hatriots.
You'll join under
I give you my word.
What does that even mean?
What's that? Well, you have a coupon code for Hatriots, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, the coupon code. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll have a
to get all that bonus information.
Right. All right, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Appreciate hearing from you. Okay. Let me see what else is going on here. Let me do a couple super chats because they are coming in. Arisis Love is asking if Ronald Reagan has seen the new gels. I don't know. Eduardo Castillo says, David, who will it take to hold Trump's feet to the fire on policy? Media seem to be going after Biden, Buttigieg for policy details. Yeah, I mean, well, Trump doesn't know a lot of stuff about any issue, so that it's hard to hold him his feet to the fire on policy when he takes every side of policy issues. Black flags are better, says, how do I feel about Ben Shapiro? Excellent at talking really, really fast. Comrade Dow says, do you think that capitalism can be reformed? I do. The Nordic countries have done it. Legislation is often written by the capitalists who exploit the populace. Crony capitalism is capitalism. It is a form of capitalism, but I do believe that that capitalism can be reformed. Shosoy Baboso says, who's a better debater, you or Kyle Kolinsky? I don't really do debates, so probably him. I mean, I guess it depends on the context. When I get invited to debate an issue I don't really know anything about, I just say, I don't know enough about that to debate. So I don't know. I guess it depends on the issue. And it also depends on the other person, right? Because the format of the debate can lend itself more to one approach versus another. Pre-law says, say goodbye, Jimmy. Dr. Bad Boy says, I'll tell you what. And Keith says, KKK was posted by Picture My Love. Okay. Very good. I don't know what that means, but it was posted. Let's see. Let's go next to the 217 area code. Who's calling from 217? Is that Wisconsin? I don't know why I think Wisconsin's 217.
No, this is Real Life Philly, a.k.a. Corey from Champaign, Illinois, and I'm wondering if you can hear me.
Can you hear me there? Thank you.
Yes, I can hear you. Who's this?
Okay, thank you. This is Corey from Champaign. Thank you.
Sorry, could you repeat that one time a little more slowly?
Thank you.
You know, I do think that his policy is better suited for a socially democratic country. I do. I think you're spot on there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I wish I understood what was going on. I mean, I'm just curious. What can you tell me one more time what your question is? Very, very unusual. Let me just take a quick note about that so we can get that right into the system. Okay. I want to say thanks to Michael Sedgwick. What is happening? Michael Sedgwick is our newest member this evening. Let's try the 313 area code and see what kind of results we get. Who's calling today from 313?
Hey, that might be me.
Hey, that's you.
Okay, this is Tony from Michigan.
Hey, Tony.
I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
If we have time.
Sure.
Okay, so my first question is, I think I remember a couple weeks ago, I was watching a live broadcast from you. You were saying something about a debate with Candace Owens.
Right.
I haven't really been following much about that, but I just wanted to know what came after that.
Absolutely nothing. So,
Really?
actually, it's kind of a weird thing. Oh man. So the third party that was organizing it, got in touch after that segment and said, "Hey, you could have just come to us and talked to us about it." And I said, "Oh yeah, no, I mean, I am talking to you about it. I'm also just talking about it on the show." And then most recently they came back and said Candace Owens is being extraordinarily difficult. So I think it's dead in the water right now. I think she just doesn't want to do it.
Man, that sucks. I was really looking forward to something like that.
You and me both. You and me both.
All right. My second question is about Joe Biden and his polling data, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So as far as as best of my knowledge, Biden, like, I don't think he's really popular among any other groups that Bernie is killing it in, like young people. And I mean, Bernie is polling more or better in the Black community.
Yes.
So the only sort of community that I'm really thinking that Biden is killing it in is older Democrats. And I just, like, there's so many more groups that Bernie is mastering and that Biden. So I just want to know, like, what your opinion is, why Biden is, like, polling better than Bernie, just like without barely being in the race.
Yeah, well, so it's a couple things. It's name recognition. It's to some degree the idea that he's a safe candidate. It's to some degree the idea from the Democratic establishment that he's the best person to take on Trump. So I think it's a combination of different things. I haven't looked at numbers that are slice and dice the way that you're saying, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Biden is to the right of Bernie, so it makes sense that since older people are more conservative than younger people, I'm not saying they get more conservative as they age, which is a common but debunked myth. But older people are more conservative than younger people right now. That would suggest that it's not unlikely that Biden's support is coming disproportionately from older voters, although I haven't looked at that data.
That from the different categories.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. I kind of have a follow up after that. Do you think that this polling data will change by the time the election comes in 2020? And if so, how drastically?
It will change, but we're starting to get, so like it's May 1st right now. Based on like the way things have gone historically, a few months ago, I was saying that the polling data, it's just too early to really give us a sense of who are really the front runners who have a shot in the Democratic primary. By May 15th and definitely by June 1st, there will probably be 3 to 4 candidates that are starting to kind of separate. And you already are kind of seeing this in Biden, Sanders, Warren, Buttigieg right now. They're starting to kind of become this upper tier. I think by June 1st, you will have a much better assessment of who is going to be in it for the long haul, and that it won't change nearly as drastically by Election Day.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, but I don't think it's going to be like the 4 candidates, as you say. I think it's really just going to be Biden and Bernie. Maybe Warren, but that's about it.
That maybe Warren's been surging. In fact, tomorrow on the show, I'm going to talk about how Bernie has actually been hurt over the last 10 days by Biden and Warren. Biden and Warren have picked up, and then Bernie has gone down, and everybody else is basically the same.
Especially because Warren killed it at that town hall.
She did.
And
she did really well. She did extraordinarily well. Tony, I'm going to mark you down as a very, very good caller. Great connection, great questions.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Yep. Bye. Okay. A couple other super chats to get to. Let's see. Leon Jones says, do you agree that Democrats are not using all the legal options available to them, like punishing ignored subpoenas, which they should be using? And given how dire the situation is, why not use all the options they have to fight back? 100% agree that Democrats are not using all the options that they have. Part of the reason may be that they want to be careful about spending political capital, thinking that it may be best spent in other ways or at other times. Keith says, and several others, what's his handle? Oh, I see. KKK was posted by Picture My Love and several others, what's his handle? Jimmy from Philly is the guy who says he's banned. Fever Gaming says, are you pro legalizing ranch? Hashtag eat Oogie's popcorn. I don't know anything about legalizing ranch, unfortunately. Philip Fenrir says, Jimmy has a huge crush on you, David. Thank you. Robert Xavier Betancourt Jr. with a $2 super chat. Timothy White says, what are your thoughts on thorium-based reactors, and do you think nuclear power should be included in future clean energy policies? Don't know much about thorium, but I am okay with including nuclear as part of the plan to get to totally clean, renewable energy that does not include nuclear. So I'm okay with using nuclear as a bridge. The caveat being it takes a while to get new nuclear supply on board. And that's just sort of a question mark in terms of the practicality of it. Omnicausality says, what is the likelihood you'll be able to appear on the Scuffed podcast alongside Destiny on May 4? I really hope you're able to do it. No idea what you're talking about. No clue what that podcast is. Haven't received any invitations. And May 4th, I mean, let me look at when is May 4th? Saturday. I try not to really do stuff on the weekends. But, step one would be for somebody to actually invite me to whatever this is. Let's go to our caller from the 818 area code. Who's calling today from 818?
Hello, David. My name is Anthony Nazarian from Glendale, California. I have two questions for you.
All right.
First of all, do you think that the ideology of neoconservatism is very destructive when it comes to United States foreign policy? And my second question would be, do you think neoliberalism is a destructive economic force when it comes to income inequality, environmental destruction, the corporations financing our elections, and making people in third world countries much poorer so they have to migrate to the Western world? What would you have to say to those two?
I would say yes and yes. I would say yes to both.
Could you explain to me in depth, in the sense, why neoconservatism is destructive?
Well, assuming we have the same definition of, maybe let's actually back up. What specifically do you mean when you say neoconservative foreign policy?
Neoconservative foreign policy is the types like during the George Bush era, during certain areas of the Clinton administration with Somalia, Kosovo, those things.
Yes. It's destructive for foreign policy. It's destructive in basically two, maybe even three primary ways. Number one, I am against using the military to carry out political agendas beyond sort of immediate defense or defense of an allied country, so to speak, just for like creating some kind of working definition. And neoconservatism is a worldview that historically has been used to justify use of the military that did not meet that criteria. And I think that that's a net negative for humans on Earth, which is basically it's the one place that humans exist. So I think in that way, it's a negative force. Number two, I think that neoconservative foreign policy, in much the same way that the sort of nationalist sentiment that we've seen rise under Donald Trump damages important geopolitical relationships. And, we can pretend that we can just like fix things by ourselves and deal with problems by ourselves, but we really can't. I mean, a lot of the problems that humans are facing right now on the planet are planetary issues, not issues that respect sort of imaginary lines on maps, which is effectively what nation states are. And it does huge damage, both reputationally, given where a lot of the world is politically, and in terms of negotiating relationships. So, yeah, I mean, it's like we could go on, but I think it's hugely damaging.
But could you make the claim that every administration has had foreign policy blunders?
Yes.
Even Trump, Obama, Bush, and the Clintons?
Absolutely.
And here's my second question to you, Mr. Packman. You're a very smart man.
Okay, you were going to ask the second question? You said, what about that, or you have a second question?
Yes, here's my second question.
Okay.
What are the what are the certain aspects of neoliberal economics that are destructive? Like, could you explain to me, like, what are the
I've got a
most
full video
destructive
on that.
sectors now in
I've got
effect
20
for
people
countries?
holding, and I recently did a full video on neoliberalism. It's on the YouTube channel, so check that out so that I can continue getting to other people, okay?
Could you make a brief explanation?
Okay, videos on YouTube, all right? I'm not going to redo that. I just did that like 10 days ago. Okay. Let's go to, man, very demanding people today. Let's go to our caller from the 307 area code. Who's calling today from 307?
Hey, that's Solomon from Wyoming.
Hey,
Is that me?
Solomon, what's going on?
Hey, I love the show. Just wanted to say that really quick.
Thank you.
So I'm from Wyoming, and I don't really hear a lot of like rural issues being talked about a lot on your show, but a lot of people, I think, in the future are going to be moving to large cities like they already have. They've already kind of flocked to urban areas, and it's only going to get worse over time where we have less ranching and farming and more, just our relationship to work is changing, obviously, right? So do you think it's generally a good thing that people are moving to cities, or do you think we should be making an effort to get people back into rural areas of the country?
Well, I guess the first question would be what the goal of doing that would be. So, I mean, let's think about that. Is the idea that you feel in some way the rural areas are kind of being left behind?
Yeah, I guess so in a way. Like there's like a lot of beauty and like natural resources out here, and I think maybe that a lot of people in cities feel that they wish that they had that, and they wish that they had this like sense of this connection to nature and stuff. And then all these people in the rural communities are saying, yeah, like, oh, I would never give that up for like a crummy city that's all crowded and stuff. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that. But
Yeah, I
that
mean,
maybe that
I've
there's some
thought
value
about this
there.
before. It's like I like getting out of cities and spending time more in more rural areas in nature, and I've done it in lots of different parts of the country. But if I really think about what is it that keeps me from moving to those places, I think it's ease of travel, right? Like a lot of those places are quite isolated in terms of being able to travel with nonstop flights, for example, to places that I go frequently. Oftentimes the cultural scene is sort of depressed, and there are, of course, there are exceptions to all of this stuff. There's places, Hudson Valley, New York, Western Massachusetts, the Five College area where the show started. There's all sorts of places that are relatively rural and have a lot of these things. But, Wyoming is a level of rural that for me, in terms of like what my lifestyle is, would be tough. And I don't know that there would be like one or two simple things that could be done to get me to consider moving to such a place. I feel like there's a big cultural divide that determines whether we're more attracted to living in an urban area or a rural area. And I don't know that there's like tweaks that can be made to rural areas to make them much more appealing to people who aren't into that lifestyle.
Yeah, that's part of the concern that
Hello? It's weird. Totally lost them. Okay. That was interesting. Let's look at a couple of the super chats here. What is going? Okay, Horror Fan for Life says, I believe Jimmy is legitimately mentally ill. I'm not qualified to make that assessment. Joaquin 15 says, what do you think of the idea of worker co-ops? I think that they're a great idea, and I'm totally in favor of any company or group of people that want to organize that way to do it. I think it's great. Real Life Jolie says, sorry, David, I was the caller from 217. That was that crazy computer voice. But when you didn't answer me audibly, I was talking the whole time. I thought that you couldn't hear me. I got frustrated and hung up. Sorry. Okay, I have a different recollection of the phone call. Matthew Griffin says you should pay someone to manage your social media. Have it be someone that you trust that can navigate the chaos of social media. I'm guessing you mean my personal social media. Rather than the shows. Yeah, that's an idea. Drake Jensen sends a $2 super chat and then a $10 super chat saying, since May 5th is Karl Marx's birthday, can we get a video that specifically underlines Marxism? Maybe have Richard Wolff on again. Also found out that Pete Buttigieg's father was a Marxist. What are your thoughts? I didn't know that. Let me think about that. I'll think about doing something like that. Michael Wheeler sends $1. And Zach Bushman says, what are your concerns with using nuclear energy long term? Waste disposal, safety, current renewable tech struggles to meet base load demand. Yeah, so, okay, I mean, listen, I know that if I say that the issue is waste disposal, there will be people who are all about that issue who will email me links to articles saying that we figured out the nuclear waste disposal. If I say that the issue is safety, I will get people who rightly email me and say the nuclear safety issues of the past have been resolved. Next generation nuclear deals with those issues. So for me, it's not about pointing out particulars that become sort of goalposts for arguing around. It's that I believe that the right path forward is one that you don't have to deal with waste. You don't have to deal with safety in the same way. Although, yeah, I know wind will kill some birds, and I'm familiar with those talking points. I believe that eventually renewable technology will be able to meet the demand without outrageous restrictions on our habits. Although we may have to sort of think a little bit more seriously and thoughtfully about our energy usage and demands that our lifestyles make. But I'm planning an upcoming video on nuclear, and we're going to address a lot of these issues there. Arisis Love says, Eric or Don Jr. For what? I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that. I think Eric is the dumber one, and Don Jr. may be the less ethical guy. I don't know. Okay, let's take another call from the 551 area code. Who's calling today from 551?
Hey, David, what's up?
Hey, who's this?
Big fan. Hey, you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, I'm calling from New York City.
All right.
So, my question is, have you heard about the U.S. Navy drafting new guidelines for reporting UFOs?
Drafting guidelines for what? Your connection is not the best.
For reporting UFOs.
For reporting UFOs. No, I didn't see that.
Okay, so they basically came out saying that they acknowledge that there have been intrusions on their airspace from unidentified aircraft.
Okay.
I just want to know your thoughts, man.
I have no idea. Now, when you say unidentified aircraft,
check it out.
Are you talking about aliens, or you're saying just foreign countries' aviation?
They don't know.
You don't know. They don't know, or you don't know.
Either or.
Well, maybe they know.
They said they don't know. So.
Do you believe in aliens from outer space?
Yes, I do, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Do you think they've been here on our planet?
Yeah, but I'm asking in regards to this announcement, because it's a pretty big deal, because Newsweek also just released an article about it.
Do you think they've abducted anybody?
No, I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Yeah.
Any reason to think they have?
I mean, I have no idea. I wouldn't know about any abductions, but...
You're agnostic on that issue?
Yeah, for sure.
Got it. All right. I will look into the guidelines. Thank you very, very much for the phone call. Appreciate it. Let me say thanks to a couple of other new members. Sam Appleton is a new patron at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. And Owen Morowitz is our newest David Pakman Show member signing up on our website. Okay. I've got to go, and I've got to get home. I've got to make dinner. I'm making egg biryani tonight. It's going to be an amazing thing. So thanks to everybody who called in, joined me, took a lot of phone calls today. I will do another live stream again when the demand calls for it. I will leave it at that.